What would you do if I told you pretty soon you're going to be able to buy a product for 1,700 bucks that'll give you 11 channels of processing, 4 independent subwoofer outputs, and a path to Dirac upgrade? That's what we're going to be talking about in today's video. Hey folks, I'm Gene Delasello with Audioholics. So we're continuing the information that's leaking out on the Sound United products that have been on the various forums. A new product from Denon, a new AV receiver, the AVR-X3800H, seems to be coming out pretty soon. It's going to be announced at CEDIA. We've got some screenshots here of the box that was put on our forum. You could see here the model number and some of the features, like the 9.4 channel AV amplifier. So it has 9 internal amplifiers, 4 independent subwoofer outputs, and the upgrade path to Dirac, which seems to be something that's happening with most of the newer Sound United products now. This is very exciting. The fact that we're getting new AV receivers from Denon and Marantz that not only support Odyssey for legacy users that like Odyssey, but now if you want to take it up a notch and you want to get more into a calibration system that has more configurability, then you're going to have an upgrade path to Dirac with these new products. So what I want to do is share my screen here and just go over this little preview article that I put together. And obviously, we're going to be at CEDIA at the end of the month. We're going to be doing live streams at the Sound United booth. So we're going to be covering this in more detail. And any information here that's not 100% confirmed, I will update at that time. So right now, some of this is a rumor mill, but some of it is based on a preliminary press release that I've seen. So we covered the Marantz separates, the AV10 and the AMP10. Those look really promising. But what do you do when you're trying to get a processor and you don't want to spend $7,000 or even $5,000, but you want to get into separates? Well, you can use an AV receiver if it has preamp outputs, but it has to have good preamp outputs. And over the years, I've tested all of the latest generations of Denon and Marantz receivers, and I've always found that they've had really strong preamp outputs. In fact, most recently, I tested the Marantz SR8015, and I think I tested an older Denon. They all had 4 volts RMS output unclipped. And that's great because most modern home theater amplifiers, let's say I have a gain of 26, they usually have a gain of 29 dB. If they have a gain of 26 dB, then you could get about 200 watts with a 2-volt RMS signal driving that kind of an amplifier. Or if it has a gain of 29 dB and the amplifier is capable of producing 400 watts, you could drive that at 2 volts. So the fact that these products are giving you 4 volts RMS opens up the opportunity to drive amplifiers with a lower gain structure or amplifiers that have a much higher output power. So definitely the preamp outputs on this is solid. You know it's going to be solid. Some of the features I want to go over with you. So this Denon has 9 internal amplifiers built in. And now they're claiming, I hate when they do this. They do this 180 watts, 6 ohms, 1 kilohertz, 1%, 1 channel driven on Tuesday. You know, we've covered this topic to death. It's a bogus number. The reality is this receiver is probably good for 125, maybe 130 watts a channel with 2 channels driven. And then with the Marantz and Denon 70% rule, you should be able to hit those power numbers with at least 5 channels driven. I've tested Marantz receivers and Denon receivers that hit their 70% figure with up to 7 channels driven. So you should get a solid, maybe 100 watts, a little under 100 watts with 5 to 7 channels driven on it. So good for most people, but the fact that you have 11 channels of processing, you could either reroute some of these amplifiers to use them for the height channels and then put an external amp for your ear level or floor level channels. 11 channels of processing opens you up to the fact that you can now do 7 bed layer speakers and 4 height channels. Or you could do wides if you don't do back. So you have a lot of options here. But the really cool thing is the 4 independent subwoofer outputs. And why is that important? Well, in order to get the best modal control in your room, you really need multiple subwoofers. We talk about this all the time. 2 subs are better than 1. 4 subs are better than 2. But in most budget products, you only have one or maybe two subwoofer outputs, and they typically are paralleled outputs, so you can't adjust the delay and the trim independently. So a lot of people would go to a product like a mini DSP, plug it into the subwoofer output of their receiver, and they'll do all their bass management, time delays, EQ, and all that stuff in that external box. Well, with a product like this, with 4 independent subwoofer outputs, you don't need that mini DSP anymore. You could do all of this in the AVR. And I don't know of a cheaper way for $1,700 for a processor that gives you 4 independent subwoofer outputs, gives you 11 channels of processing. It gives you all the immersive surround formats, Dolby Atmos, DTS:X, Auro 3D. It gives you a preamp disconnect mode. And there's rumors that you could potentially turn off all of the amplifier channels. I don't know if that's true. This is something I want to confirm when I'm at Sound United. But either way, you could bypass those amplifiers and you could use your own external amplification. And then the HDMI is 2.1, supports 40 gigabits on every input. So it's not like you just have one specific input. Every single input supports 2.1. So if you're a gamer, an Xbox or a PlayStation, this receiver will work just fine with that based on what I'm seeing here. The Dirac upgradability is a really nice touch. And then there's a rumor, and I didn't want to really report this because I don't know if it's substantiated or not, but I saw this is from our forum that someone from Audio Science Review posted. The biggest news, according to the insider at DNM, which is they're not DNM anymore, they're Massimo, have worked with Dirac to offer the first ever dynamic EQ and dynamic volume of Odyssey side by side with Dirac Live. Up until now, no AVP with Dirac has dynamic EQ capability. Dolby volume is limited to Dolby-only content. So take what you will with that. That could be a rumor or it could be factual. We will find out in a couple of weeks. What they're trying to say is you could use some of the elements of Odyssey in conjunction with Dirac, which would be interesting. I've never seen anything like that. So the bottom line here, guys, if you're looking to get into the separates market, this might be your solution. For $1,700, you're getting state-of-the-art HDMI 2.1, 4 independent subwoofer outputs, 2 room correction systems, and a strong preamp out 4 volts RMS, clean, that'll drive virtually any home theater amplifier into clipping if you wanted to do that. So give me your comments down below. Is this the receiver you're going to be looking at in 2023? Are you going to use it with external amplification as a separates killer or a budget-friendly separates solution? Give me some comments down below, any questions you have, and I'll try to get them answered when I'm at CEDIA in a few weeks. Don't forget about our Patreon channel at patreon.com/audioholics. We appreciate your support. You get direct access to us if you want to suggest video topics or ask questions. And until next time, my friends, keep listening.